The metallic echoes inside the ship buzzed in Midge's ears, distracting his mind. The cassette bag he carried felt strange and unnecessary in the hands of a soldier used to modern weapons. He was confused. He couldn't understand the logic of placing analog technology at the center of such a critical mission. They were in the digital age now. Yet here he was again, deep in space, fighting one of the galaxy's most advanced digital warriors, a hostile alien race. And their greatest weapon was cassettes. "Do you really believe these old tapes are going to save us?" Midge asked, out of breath, gripping the bag a little tighter. He glanced around at the rest of the team. Everyone's face was tense and serious. The seasoned soldier beside him, Haig, turned and gave him a brief look. His calm and determined expression remained unchanged. "Our enemies may be masters of the digital world, but old methods are beyond their understanding," Haig said, every word precise and without waste. "These tapes are our key. To them, they're a labyrinth." Midge admired how calm Haig could remain. This man had spent years in the military, always cold-blooded and solution-focused. But this time, the situation was different. Their enemy wasn't an ordinary army. It was a civilization that had conquered countless planets and taken control of all digital systems. From communications to weaponry, these aliens could bring down humanity's most advanced technology. Yet, humanity had one unexpected weapon against them: simple, old cassette tapes. Suddenly, the intercom blared with a sharp voice. The commander's voice echoed through the entire ship. "Prepare yourselves. 10 minutes left," the commander ordered, the determination in his voice palpable with every word. Without looking at Midge, Haig activated the intercom and pressed the button. "We're ready, Commander," he responded calmly. As the doors opened with a heavy metallic sound, Midge felt his breath catch. The moment they stepped outside the spaceship, the cold, foreign atmosphere hit their faces. Walking toward the enemy ship's control center, everything around them looked alien and threatening. The task force was silent, with only the echo of their footsteps in the air. The tension hanging in the atmosphere gave a weight Midge had never felt before. He gripped the cassette bag tighter with his sweaty hands, his mind swirling with countless questions. Will this really work? What danger awaits us? Are we making a mistake? Haig's calmness only deepened his inner panic, but the young soldier knew he had no choice but to lean on Haig's confidence. The knowledge and experience hidden in the man's eyes were enough to ease Midge's anxiety. As the team progressed toward the enemy ship's control center, Midge hesitated for a moment and approached Haig. "How solid is this plan?" he asked, his voice low but serious. "The plan is simple," Haig replied, his gaze unwavering. "We'll use our analog systems. They'll never figure it out. They can mess with our digital systems, but these old tapes are beyond their comprehension." Midge appreciated the confidence behind this answer, but the unease inside him still lingered. How could such an advanced alien civilization fail to decipher basic cassette encryption? It was hard not to believe they were making a mistake. Step by step, they continued moving forward until they finally reached the massive door leading to the control center. Haig stopped and turned to give the team one last look. "Once we get inside, we move fast. Time's against us. It's only a matter of time before they break our codes, but if they don't do it before us, we win this war," he said. "Absolutely," Haig continued, taking a deep breath. "These aliens are too dependent on their digital existence. They don't notice our physical presence. But the moment we catch their eye, everything changes. They'll kill us instantly. Right now, they're acting as if we're nothing more than digital signals." Up to this stage of the operation, everything had been handled using digital attack tactics. The humans hadn't physically infiltrated the alien ship yet, but by seizing a captured vessel from the last conflict, they'd managed to make themselves appear as some kind of digital ghost. Haig and Midge, as human crew members, had disguised their presence among the enemy's signals and moved unnoticed within the ship, acting like an invisible threat. This had been humanity's most crucial move, exploiting the alien technology's blind spots. By mimicking digital identities, they had sent friendly signals to the alien systems. Once inside the ship, however, things had become more dangerous. Digital camouflage wasn't enough to avoid physical detection. Haig and Midge had to move quietly and avoid drawing any attention. While their presence couldn't be detected digitally, the aliens would immediately recognize them upon physical contact. Haig took a deep breath, processing these thoughts as he began walking deeper into the ship's corridors. Midge followed behind him in silent footsteps. The ship was filled with digital noises, as the aliens kept their focus on maintaining the flow of data and had no suspicion of any human presence. Midge looked around with a slight hint of anxiety. "You think we'll be noticed?" he asked in a whisper. "If we're careful enough, no," Haig replied confidently. "They think everything is digital. They'd never consider that physical presence, especially old-fashioned methods, could pose a threat. It's a flaw in their technology." Midge paused for a moment, pondering the idea. Despite their digital superiority, the aliens had such a significant vulnerability. Humanity was about to bring down the galaxy's most powerful civilization with simple yet effective analog technology. The duo continued moving deeper into the ship. The corridors were lined with cables and panels that managed the aliens' digital systems. The ship was quiet, with only the hum of data streams echoing around them. The aliens were so focused on their screens and the flow of information that they had no idea humans were there. "We're getting close to the final step," Haig said quietly, turning to Midge. "Now we need to shut these systems down completely. But first, we have to disable the signal booster. Only then will our codes be able to bring down the ship entirely." Midge nodded, glancing at the panels around him. "All right," he said. "Let's do it quietly and quickly." As the door slowly opened, everyone braced themselves. Facing the enemy exceeded all expectations. Gleaming technology, bright screens, and digital lights filled every corner. The aliens had established absolute control in the digital world. But in Haig's hands, that old cassette would turn their entire perception upside down. "We're starting," Haig said as he pulled out the cassette and prepared it. Midge closed his eyes and took a deep breath. As they stepped inside, the control room of the alien ship greeted them with a setup unlike anything human eyes were used to. The walls, from floor to ceiling, were covered with holographic screens filled with strange, alien digital codes. The countless symbols spinning across each screen were a testament to the mastery these aliens held over their technology. Midge couldn't hide her astonishment in the face of such an advanced digital infrastructure. These aliens had seized control of nearly all the galaxy's digital networks. Yet Haig moved forward calmly, gripping the cassette in his hand as if nothing were out of the ordinary. "We arrived just in time," he whispered, his eyes scanning the roomful of aliens. The aliens manning the screens had long, slender bodies intertwined with the machines. Their metallic antennae constantly transmitted and received data. Their entire focus was on cracking the digital codes displayed before them. The humans were just now making their move. Midge marveled at how the aliens hadn't even noticed them. So advanced were these creatures that they had seemingly dismissed any physical threats entirely, focusing solely on digital dangers. "They don't even understand what we're doing," Midge muttered. Haig knelt calmly, setting up the cassette equipment on the floor. Midge, watching the man with his outdated analog devices, couldn't help but feel a brief flicker of curiosity replacing her doubt. "Is this really going to work?" she thought to herself. "They're trying to crack digital codes," Haig said, keeping his eyes on the cassette. "But they can't comprehend analog encryption. It's a blind spot for them." Midge nodded, trying to process the situation. The aliens had trapped the entire world within a digital web, taking control of humanity's most advanced computers, defense systems, and communication networks. But now, they faced an enemy they hadn't encountered in perhaps millennia: old technology. To the aliens, it was a long-abandoned, forgotten method of encryption. The aliens in front of the screens suddenly began to stir. The digital codes on the monitors vanished, replaced by strange symbols. Midge watched their faces, noting the panic, confusion, and even fear that crept into their expressions. It was clear they had no idea what was happening. "Haig, is this working?" Midge asked, her breath quickening. As Haig inserted the cassette into the device, a faint smile crossed his face. "To them, it's just a puzzle they can never solve," he replied. As the cassette spun, the devices and screens in the room began to shudder. The aliens' digital dominance was slipping away, moment by moment. Codes became chaotic, connections were severed. Humanity now held the reins. Suddenly, the large screen in the middle of the room went dark. A heavy silence filled the chamber. The aliens, staring at each other in bewilderment, only added to Midge's rising excitement. "It's working," she murmured to herself. Haig reached for the radio and addressed the commander. "We've activated the encryption, sir." "Control is now in our hands," he said. Midge watched as the aliens exchanged confused glances, realizing everything was unraveling right before their eyes. These beings, who had built empires in the digital realm, were now helpless in the face of a simple cassette encryption. One of the aliens tapped furiously at a screen, attempting to solve a stream of data. But no matter how hard it tried, the data flow reversed in front of its eyes. Midge felt a laugh bubble up inside her, but she suppressed it. Humanity had just made its most unexpected move. "Midge," Haig called, snapping her attention back. "We need to move quickly. Something could still go wrong before we secure full control." "Got it," Midge said, taking a deep breath. "What do you need me to do?" Haig pointed to the cables next to the device. "Keep these connections secure to boost the signal. Even a minor error could crash the whole system." Nodding, Midge moved toward the cables. Her hands trembled slightly, but the chaos in the room and the alien's helplessness fueled her determination. She fastened the cables tightly and returned to Haig's side. Suddenly, one of the aliens unexpectedly turned towards them. Midge felt her heart skip a beat. "Have they noticed us?" she wondered. But the alien simply glanced at the unraveling codes on the screen, shook its head, and retreated. They had infinite skill in digital encryption, but analog codes were beyond their understanding. Haig and Midge watched the results of their sabotage unfold in the control room of the alien ship. Things were moving faster than they had anticipated. As the tapes activated, the aliens' digital systems began crashing at an alarming rate. Holographic screens around the room flickered off one by one, connections severed, and digital symbols turned into meaningless streams of code. The confusion on the aliens' faces gave Haig and Midge a sweet taste of victory. But this victory was far from secured. As Haig focused on the control devices in front of him, he knew they still had one final move to make if they wanted to take full control of the ship. "Midge," Haig said in a serious tone, "we need to get out of here now. We've boosted the signal, but this ship will try to recover itself. We need to finish our job and retreat." Midge listened to the digital noise that still echoed throughout the ship. The aliens were quickly trying to regroup. "How much time do we have?" she asked, her eyes shifting to the screens, which were slowly coming back online. Haig, gathering his equipment carefully, glanced over at her. "We've got minutes at best. We control things now, but they'll recover faster than we think. If we want to get out alive, we need to destroy the ship's main control signal. Only then can we ensure it's permanently crippled." Midge understood the gravity of the situation. They had to make the final move, one that would send the enemy ship beyond recovery. "Where is the main control signal?" she asked, her brow furrowing. Haig pointed to a section of the ship's schematics. "The main control room. It's the brain of this ship. Once we take that out, the aliens won't be able to recover." The two of them managed to slip out of the room undetected. As they moved through the corridors, they could feel the systems around them slowly coming back to life. The aliens were working quickly, desperately trying to regain control. But the humans' simple yet effective analog codes had left them powerless. At the end of the corridor, they reached the massive door leading to the main control room. A few alien guards stood watch, but their attention was scattered amid the digital chaos. Haig leaned in close to Midge and whispered, "We have to be quick and quiet. We can't get in without neutralizing them first." Midge nodded, focusing her gaze on the guards. She gripped her weapon and steadied her breathing. Time was running out. Silently, they moved forward, swiftly and efficiently disabling the alien guards, who, due to their digital dependence, never saw the humans coming. The door slid open with a heavy creak. Inside, the heart of the alien ship awaited them. A massive screen dominated the room, displaying the ship's entire system. Streams of digital data flowed, showing every sector the aliens controlled. But Haig and Midge were about to bring it all to an end. Haig rushed to the control panel. "Midge, buy me some time," he said as his fingers danced across the buttons. "I need a few seconds to shut everything down, but they'll try to stop us." Midge turned toward the approaching aliens, who had finally realized what was happening. "They're coming!" she shouted, pulling out her weapon and preparing to defend them. The aliens moved quickly with their enhanced systems, but Midge was holding them off, using their physical weakness against them. Although they were connected to powerful digital networks, their physical bodies were frail, and that gave her an advantage. Still, Their numbers were overwhelming. "Hold on, Midge!" Haig yelled in desperation. Midge, shooting down the advancing aliens one by one, glanced at Haig from the corner of her eye. His hands were moving frantically over the control panel as he searched for the correct combination to shut down the system. "How much longer?" she asked, breathless from the fight. "Almost there. Just a little more," Haig replied, sweat beading on his forehead. Finally, Haig's fingers stopped, and a large warning flashed across the screen. "Got it," he said triumphantly. "I've given the final command to crash the system." At that moment, the lights in the room began to flicker and die. The aliens froze, unable to move as their digital connections were severed. The ship was plunged into darkness. Midge lowered her weapon and let out a deep breath. It was over. "We did it," Midge said, a smile breaking across her face. Haig slowly stood up, breathing heavily. "This is just the beginning," he said quietly. "But it's a big step toward taking back the galaxy." Humans, with their simple yet effective methods beyond the digital world, had managed to defeat one of the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. Despite millions of years of evolution and technology, humanity had claimed victory using tactics the aliens had never expected. As Haig and Midge gazed down the now-defunct corridors of the alien ship, they realized they had just ignited the dawn of a new era in the galaxy. One that would require more than just technology. It would take creativity, resilience, and solutions from unexpected places. I hope you had a good time. If you liked my story, do not forget to comment and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye. See you in the next story.